Call please.
Thompson.
Here.
Small.
Here.
Gothier.
Here.
Brumman. Here. Brady.
Here. Have a motion to approve the minutes from December 7th, regular meeting and December 12th special meeting. I'll make that motion. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Let's make addition. Presentations after Sheriff Scott Stevenson, Lenny from ACCOA. And if you see Carolyn get up from time to time, it's because she needs some mental exercise to help out with some issues she's having. So don't be alarmed. She's not going to take it. We'll start with public comment. 3 minutes. Please state your name and your township. All right, no public comment. How about online? Hey, nobody logged in today.
What are you gonna say about? What are you gonna?
No. Well, I didn't work that out. Moving on, Sheriff. You got some nice stuff for us to today.
Yeah, for the holidays anyway. So I'm here to present the award that I was going to present a couple weeks ago. I was going to present it under surprise a couple weeks ago, but the cat's out of the bag now. We can keep secret for a while, not 2 weeks apparently. So this is going to be for Deputy Gyersbeck. I'll explain to you what this is all about here in a minute, but he's here today with his wife Amanda and his son and Sergeant Leesburg, who nominated him for this award. A little bit I want to tell you about Deputy Gyersbeck. He's kind of one of our hidden secrets, one of our hidden gems. We had him hidden on midnights for a long time in his career, so he's not real well known around as a police officer. I know a lot of people who know him around here. He graduated from Alcona High School. He worked for us for 2 years in the Marine Patrol on the Marine program in 2010 and 2011. And he went on to get his associates at ACC in 2010 in criminal justice and his bachelor's from Lake Superior State in 2012. And Josh, if I get any of these dates wrong, I apologize, and we'll swear up on it later. He also worked for Chippewa County as a sheriff's deputy for 2 years at Chippewa County, Sault Ste. Marie, so up in the snow belt up there. He worked for them for a couple of years before he returned to us in 2014. Like I said, he worked mainly on the midnight shift when he worked for us. So we didn't really know what we had. We didn't hear too much good or bad about him. He just came to work and did his job, and we didn't hear too much about him. So when circumstances dictated that he started coming to afternoons and day shifts, we didn't really know what we were getting. Like anybody else coming from the midnight shift, it's a different breed on midnight. So if you're a dispatcher or a jailer or a deputy, it's a whole different breed of people you're dealing with on midnights. So we didn't know what we were getting with Josh. It took a little bit of time, but we kind of found his niche. We got him in as a secondary road patrol officer, and he's knocking it out of the park. All kinds of tickets. He's even rolling up drunks and suspended drivers during the daytime, which is not real common. Doing a great job on that. So what we had on the midnights there was a diamond in the rough, but we just didn't really know we had it. And that kind of brings me to what we're doing here today. On November 7th, which we all remember is election day, Josh and I remember it's just another Tuesday, but it was election day. His actions that day is what we're here for. So what happened was this all went down, and I'll tell you all about that here in just a second. Sergeant Leesburg looked at the situation and saw that there were some things that deserved some merit. He wrote me up a real nice recommendation letter and gave it to me. I looked it over, considered it after a couple of days of my kind of digesting everything that went on, because I was there too. So I had to digest it from a different perspective. And I decided it warranted an award. And you can ask any of my guys, awards don't come out easy from our department because this is every day for us. Leesburg's always had a saying that it's just Wednesday for us. It's the biggest deal in the world for you guys today, but for us, it's just another Wednesday. Well, this was just another Tuesday for Josh and I. And we've had a couple of Tuesdays like that since then, Josh and I have. So anyways, on November 7th, we were dispatched to a house that was being fired on by the neighbor. In common terms, we call that an active shooter. He's actually shooting at the house. We didn't know with what or why or anything like that. And so anyways, we're calling him Deputy Gyersbeck, but I'll call him Josh throughout quite a bit of this because we're on a first name basis like that. So excuse me if I refer to him a little more casually than his proper title. He got on scene first. I got there shortly afterward. When I got there, he had everything drawn up. He showed me pictures of the suspect, showing me pictures of the victim, so we could distinguish who was who. And talking about the layout of the house, and he seemed to know who the shooter was from prior contacts with him. Invaluable information. That kind of stuff is what keeps us safe and keeps the public safe. So a lot of this he was able to draw on from his experience, but he's using the computer in the car that we've upgraded on technology quite a bit over the years, but he's able to run lean and actually pull up pictures of everything for us to look at. So as we're talking about all this and what we're going to do, we're getting information from dispatch that the suspect is trapped in the basement, or the victim is trapped in the basement, and the suspect's walking around upstairs. Doesn't give us a whole lot of time to think, because we think that there's a guy trapped and there's a crazy guy upstairs with a gun shooting. So we made this decision to go in and get the victim out of the house, and Josh was involved in that. And that's kind of like a tactical rescue or a tactical evacuation of the victim. And Josh was a major role in doing that and getting that guy to safety. And this whole time we're doing this, we don't know where the bad guy's at. You know, we don't know if he's in the house. They cleared the house, so they knew he wasn't there. We didn't know if he's outside behind a wood pile or hiding behind a car or waiting to pop one of us off. We just didn't know. So we got that all taken care of. We get the victim out to safety, interview him a little bit, debrief about what's going on and what this is all about. And the whole time Josh is giving us more information. He's pulling up aerial photographs of the scene and where we can take up positions and where we can keep a secure perimeter on the place. He even gets on Zillow, which is a realty website. And this house was for sale not too long ago. We had photographs of the entire inside of the house, and we knew what was in there. Josh has been to the front door, so he knew a few things about how things were set up around the front door. This is invaluable intel for us for making entry or doing whatever we're going to do with that situation. And do it safely is the other part of that. So at that point, we don't know where the suspect is. We don't know what he's up to. We don't know where he's at. We don't know what he's armed with. Although I've seen bullet holes go through the front of the house, an interior wall, and out the back side of the house. I'm not a ballistics guy, but that means bad news to me. Probably high power rifle. It turned out it was not, but that's sure exactly what it looked like to me. We call the SWAT team in, and our SWAT team that I use is comprised of sheriff's deputies and police officers all over northern Michigan. So they all came in, and maybe some of you saw some of them driving in that night. Lights and siren to get here to help us. During that time, we're preparing at the command post, and Josh is providing information to deputies that I have working back at the office to get a search warrant. Because believe it or not, the cops can't just barge in your house and kick your door in and take you to jail. He's in his house on his own. He has committed a crime, so we may have been able to do this, but the team always wants a search warrant or a mental commitment or something legally binding that gets us in there. So they're working on a search warrant. And without the information that Josh was able to give the deputies to type that up, we don't get that search warrant. It just doesn't happen. So by the time the team got there and got ready to start prepping and planning for this, we had a search warrant in hand. Unheard of in law enforcement to have all of that ready to go by the time they got there. All right, so we're setting up the operation, getting ready to go, and one of the team likes to do things that are safe before they have to do anything dangerous. So after they get this perimeter set up and they're talking about how they're going to do an entry and attack this house and arrest the suspect, they decide they're going to fly their drone up. Unfortunately, they took their drone up and they found the victim was already deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, making the scene. So that's not the end of it. This is kind of just where it starts. So now what we got is we got a dead body and we had an idea. So who has to do that? The guy who knows him, the guy who's been there, the guy who's been started this complaint is now has to go up there and positively identify this guy. And he did a fairly good job of that with what he could. And so again, we think this is the end of it, but it's not the end of it. So now the next part of the investigation starts. Where Deputy Geiersbeck has to investigate the death scene or the suicide scene. This is why we're here today. It's not because of any one little thing that he did. It was everything he did from the start to the finish. Now, I had almost all my guys involved in this complaint. Every single one of them deserved a great pat on the back. They did their role, and they did their role very well, and everything worked out very well and very safely for us. I had guys doing traffic control on the scene. I had guys getting drinks and stuff to eat for the SWAT team that was there. I had guys drafting search warrants. I had media releases going out so the public knew what was going on and we weren't getting bombarded by that. I even had people doing social media rumor control, because there were rumors floating around that we had active shooters running around the county. So there's an awful lot of moving parts that everybody was involved with. But that dude right there, he was involved in all of it. Right side by side with me throughout the night at the command post. And then after I went home and went to bed, he stayed up and conducted an investigation of the death there. So that's what we're here for. The award is elements of a lot of things. There's elements of bravery in there, and you heard some of that. There's elements of a life-saving situation here, but there's also an awful lot of elements of awful good police work, which he followed up on all this with a great police report that tied everything up very well for the victims of this and for the suspect's family, who are also victims of this. So that's the reason we're here today, and that's the reason that Sergeant Leesburg nominated him for this award, and that's why I'm granting it today. And what we are doing is we are awarding him the Meritorious Service Award from the Alcona County Sheriff's Office. So Josh, would you like to step up here, please? We'll be placing a copy of the letter from Sergeant Leesburg along with the award in his personnel file. And here's what we're looking at. There you go, Josh. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, very good. Yeah, we do appreciate all the hard work, all where law enforcement professionals put in, and very nice work, and we'd like to hear about positive stories in our community for sure.
We like to see success, and this was, even though there was a fatality involved in it, the good guys made it out safe, and the people being shot at made it out safe, and it all kind of came together real well. A lot of people working on stuff that works real well together, and it's kind of nice to see.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that he's protecting his own family and all of our families in Alcona County, so
Yeah.
bravo.
You're here.
Okay, so moving on to Mr. Lenny, TCOA.
Do I have to follow that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll do fine.
My apologies. Okay. Okay, so I'm prepared for 2 presentations depending on what you guys want us to talk about. I sent you a couple weeks ago a copy of the our budget and asked if you had any questions. I also have this hard now report again, technology, but I did confer with each of you. So if there is any questions in particular on the budget, I mean, how much to do this, because this is pretty lengthy.
Anybody board have questions that they've generated? I information didn't generate any questions for myself, but I know that part of, so I'll start with that. Okay. Oh, that was easy.
Yep.
I think part of your response, good to have on a little presentation that you brought as well.
Yep. So this is
You need
no, this is yours. Keep it is proprietary information because we have our financials. But if you don't want it, I'll take it and get it back to it. We will release as well. I don't know if you both need it, but thank you. So there were some questions about what the proposed project was going to be. You guys asked for that information as well, so I prepared a small presentation of that information. You're special, trying to give you two. I'm gonna refer online. And if I did this correctly, folks at home should be able to follow. Okay. So I'm going to shrink this down so that everybody is able to see this, hopefully. If not, it'll be up on our website. So I kind of just wanted to kind of give this to you. It is about 15 slides. I'm going to go through it so I don't take up that much of your time. So the first is a disclaimer. The following proposed project is subject to change. Overall design. This video is a sneak peek behind the curtains to ensure transparency and provide information. We thank you and look forward to our continued services of Oconto County and its seniors. Reason for that, because if I say we're going to do a 22 by 15 room and it needs to be changed to 18 by 10, that's why we have that disclaimer. This is, however, the spirit of the project is what's going to be presented. So here's our new project. The project is for the seniors. It's focused for the seniors, their families, and the community. So first things first is the overall site project. Oh, that's yours, not mine. Okay, so we're looking to construct a 30,000 square foot senior/community center, 10 senior townhome villas, 16 multifamily townhomes, and recreational amenities. So at the top left of the screen, you'll see that over here, this is the layout of the senior/community center. Here's some of those features I want to call your attention to. We're going to do a memorial/veteran reflection area. We'll have a flag area and statues here in the beginning. That will be the centerpiece of when you walk into the senior center. Up in here in the back, we're going to be having some shuffleboard courts that's going to be open. The main portion of the senior center will be parts for ACCOA's administration, so our offices, connecting over into some community amenities, as well as a gym that's going to be lined for pickleball, for 3 potential pickleball courts. Over here is our multifamily housing. So this is going to be 8 units in this building, 8 units in other buildings. On the 2 bookends, so on the 2 sides, there's going to be 4 barrier-free units. So for example, if you're a senior and you're taking care of a child, this would not be a primary location for you, because this would be for senior housing. But if you had a family and you're taking care of your grandkids, this would be optimal, because the outside edges are going to be 1-story barrier-free. The multifamily housing are going to be townhome sets. So the living quarters are going to be at the bottom, sleeping quarters at the top. It's like a normal standard townhome with in parking. Don't worry, we'll have slides on that. And then the senior townhome villas are going to be 1-story, identical to each other, barrier-free housing. I can tell you right now, there are people that are in our nursing facilities that are inappropriate. What do you mean by inappropriate? Meaning they could move out, but because they don't have a place that's barrier-free, meaning their house themselves may need a ramp, can't afford it. They may need to have their roof, can't afford to put that on. These senior villas would be perfect and ideal for those seniors to be able to move in, because it'd be maintenance-free. We would have maintenance, we would have snow removal, and they would have an instant community that they could go in and walk right to the community center. Okay, next slide. So, as I explained it is senior focus. It has some community amenities, target of 30,000 square feet, construction to start first. We are building the senior/community center first. So there's a lot of questions. What's in that 30,000 square feet? So let's look at some of the facade. I brought the pictures up. As you can see the Veterans Memorial, as I said, the reflection area, shuffleboard areas, pickleball courts, wellness entry points. As you can see on the left, there are some preliminary conceptualized sketches that are going to kind of look at the overall outside facade of the building. We wanted to try to make it look like Oconto County, not downstate or anything else. Make it feel and look like ACCOA and Oconto. Next is what is on the inside of this. So I'm going to go through it all, and we're going to deduct all the way through. So down here is our running total. So we have 30,000 square feet. Okay, we had a lot of people say what's in it, but here it is. So we're going to have 3 vestibules. That's 300 square feet. A lobby, 3 of those at 400 square feet. We're going to have mechanical and plumbing, electrical distribution, server room, janitor closet, circulation and hallways. That's 6,010 square feet right there. a groundskeeper's office with or working area and storage. That is 9,066 square feet. Boom, that's a third of the building right there. Hallways, superstructure. This is why we call it supports and miscellaneous circulations. Okay. Next part of the building is what we call ACCOA administrative offices. That's the business of ACCOA. We're gonna have a reception area, a waiting area for 10 occupants, toilet, bathrooms, male and female for our staff, copy room, open office spaces, enough for about 20, 25 workstations, like a cubicle zone, consultation room, that's private, interview room, that's private, break room, kitchenette, supply storage, medical equipment storage, training rooms, so we can bring our staff coming in and do training, executive office space for our managers, admin office space, in-home service office space, family care services, and a conference room for 12 people. That's going to total 3,435 square feet. So if you're following it along at home, 9,000 from that first total, 3435 gives us 17,499 square feet. Next, right here, this is our senior/community spaces, meaning seniors focus, but it's also accessible to the public. So public bathrooms, we're gonna do 2 of those. That's 480 square feet. Multi-purpose room, meaning you can do activities, you can do board meetings, you do whatever, because it serves multiple purposes. A dining room for 50 occupants. Recreation activity room with mixed seating, meaning that we're gonna have couches and chairs and TVs and those things for activities, so people can play cards or hang out. A computer lab. That's 3 by 5. That's 3 feet by 5 feet. Not very big. Very much similar to what we have. That can do 15 people. That's a total of 225 square feet. Multimedia area, so that individuals that want to watch a baseball game can come and watch a baseball game. Commercial kitchen. So what we already currently provide: freezers, coolers, dry storage. And our nutrition manager's office is going to be attached to this. We're going to have an outside patio that's accessible for the dining. So if our seniors want to take their congregate meal, they can walk outside on the deck and sit down and enjoy the Michigan weather. That's only comes, once a year. That's good. That's 6,763 square feet. Okay. So that only gives us 10,736 square feet left. So last but not least, here's the biggest portion of what's left in the senior center. So this is our senior community fitness and wellness. We'll have a vestibule for that, a lobby for that, toilets for the community. So 8 by 15, 120 square feet, 2 of those, that's 240 feet. Showers, unisex showers, so anybody could use them. Lockers, unisex. A welcome registration office, so people can come in and check in. The biggest portion of this is our basketball court, which is going to be, it's a high school sized gym. So that's 7,280 square feet. And it's going to be lined and striped for 3 pickleball courts. Okay. Then on the outside of that is going to be a 2-lane indoor run/walking track around all of that. Our storage, 180 square feet of storage. Our fitness and weight room and cardio is 792 square feet, which is not very large. Okay. Exercise, yoga, CrossFit, multi-purpose room, that's 900 square feet. We have proposed to put a sauna, 10 by 5, 10 feet by 5 feet. That's a 5 occupancy, 4-person sauna with a little bit of a waiting area. And then last but not least, we propose to put a kid zone in there so that seniors, people who have kids can drop your kids off into a play area that is 10 by 50, which is 500 square feet. That's about the size of a 2-car garage. That's it. That's all the square footage. What is in there that is out of the ordinary? I'll leave that alone. So that's how you get 30,000 square feet. So let me lay that out for you. This is kind of color coded. I know it's extremely zoomed in. Commissioners, you have a copy of this, but again, it's laid out as such so that we can expand on it later at future areas as additional funding sources continue to be identified. But it's designed as such so that we don't have any useless or not utilizing space. Okay. So let's talk about the senior villas. Okay, senior housing, single story, barrier free. As you can see from the design and layout, they're very much identical to each other. Okay, there will be a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms in there. Okay, so the reason for that is that you may have, couples, you may have a couple that's taking care of a younger child. Those things may not want to live in that setting. They may want to go to the multifamily, but we still want to be able to offer that. There's not a lot of the 2 bedrooms. I think there's only 1 or 2, but it's mainly single 1 bedroom units that are set up for this senior villa. And here's the great part about it. They're next to each other. So they're not next to somebody who's playing music. They're next to other seniors, because that was our intent for this whole project, was to make sure that the seniors are targeted and focused. So as you go through all of this information and you go through all the area, the only thing that we did not provide was parking. There'll be covered parking access outside. We are already working on having snow removal, lawn care, and everything else. They'll have a back patio and porch so they can go out if they want to barbecue. According to the co-funding source, MSHA, for this project, they determine seniors as 55 years of age or older. The average median age in Oconee County is 59. Okay. Oops, let me go over my bullet points on this slide too. So let's go back. So again, I like it. Senior focus, barrier free, maintenance free, 10 total units, 5 units per building, 2 total buildings. So there's again a little bit closer blowout of the units. You have the single 2 bedroom and the 1 bedroom setting. See the kitchen with the dining and living room space, covered porch area, bedroom next to the closet and bathroom, laundry, and everything else to flow through. All barrier free. What I mean by barrier free. So we're not going to have, light switches higher than a person in a wheelchair can reach. Cabinet spaces are a lot lower. So these are why this would be considered barrier free. No step entry. Bathroom and tubs are designed so as such that individuals can get in either a transfer bench or roll in, depending on the needs of that particular individual. Remember, this is the senior villas. Okay. Next, let's talk about the multifamily housing. Have a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom townhomes, 2-story homes, open to all, including seniors. Okay. So as you can see from the PowerPoint, that you see how the units are all very situated. So they may go, like I said, the outer bookends are the single story ones. So they're the larger units on the bookends, on the outer edges. So that these are also barrier free. So seniors with larger families can move into this unit and be not deterred to live here. So you count 4 of those. So in addition to the senior villas, you're looking at 14 units. So going here, you have these 6 units right here in the middle. There are mixture of 1 and 2 bedroom. As I stated earlier, the sleeping quarters are up the stairs. The living quarters are at the bottom. Pretty much self-explanatory with that. The next slide is going to zoom in a little bit closer on a few of these units. You'll have your garages as they will pull in, accessible to your laundry, coming in through the kitchen, into your dining area, into your living area, into your outside porch. Very similar to the 1 bedroom. This is the next slide. We'll do the exact same thing for the tops. So this will be the top of the 2 bedroom. This will be the top of the single bedroom. Large enough for, we put in here this queen size bed to kind of give it a little bit of scope. If you want a California king, that's wherever how you want, right? Accessible to your bathroom, which is down the stairs to your living area. So let's talk about some of these community amenities. It's good for all ages. It focuses on health and wellness because ultimately that's what we want. We want to see a viable, healthy community, and it's multi-generational. So. Some of the things that you'll see, one of the fastest growing sport, apparently LeBron James owns a pickleball team, is pickleball. Shuffleboard, I've already pointed that out. We're gonna have several shuffleboard courts outside. Seniors play volleyball. Seniors are very active. We're gonna attempt to put a splash pad out there. Why? Because seniors may want to bring their grandkids. Grandkids come up and visit, they want to bring their kids to come hang out. I don't know about you. Skating park area. Hey, I don't know. Maybe you'll have a 55-year-old thrasher, who wants to get out there. Or again, bring your kids to come out and sit and hang out. Areas for outside fitness. Our proposed project is going to have a walking area around the whole site. That's 14 acres. Okay. So some of the other things, we may not be able to get to all of this, but we're going to prioritize which is what we can get there. That's why the beginning. So if a tennis court, I can tell you right now, tennis courts are running at $96,000 per tennis court. We have a proposed 4 of those. We may not be able to get all of those tennis courts. That may be in a future phase. Pickleball courts, skate pads, splash ice rinks, all abilities playground. We're going to target those areas that are going to not require as much infrastructure. Okay. So tennis ball, pickleball courts, playgrounds, splash pads, skate pads, basketball courts, and walking trails, as you can see around the site plan. Okay, so I put a card there. So www.icanalcona, ICANALCONA.org is your source of information on our project. So you want to know, go to that website. If you have questions, email us at icanalcona.org. So I believe that is all I have for all of you.
You gave us and I missed these, and the measurements on the conference room early on in the presentation.
I would have to pull up the PowerPoint. Let me see.
Never mind.
It's enough for a 12-person.
I'll see if I can dig it out.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Any other questions?
Very impressive. Pretty big project going there.
Yeah.
I guess in this day and age, you always say a little bit bigger, of course.
Mhm.
Is there a plan of more expansion down the road?
Yes, so in the yellow section of the first initial,
Okay,
there was, so when we first approached this project with you guys, some of you guys were still on the commissioner, some of you guys were not. We were looking at community amenities. At one time, we offered the veterans to come move in. We talked with some other community partners like Catholic Community Services about doing that. So I had always planned to start with our seniors first and then open with our community. So we're still targeting additional dollars. We're still trying to target additional state and federal dollars to do that community aspect. Okay, so we put that to like phase 4 or 5 with the future expansion to add a business accelerator that can work with the DDA to help grow businesses in our community, to add community office spaces so that, not surprised, but I do think about the people at the Village of Lincoln who's using sub. We can provide office spaces. I would love for our community, to go to a wing that we don't have to drive all over the county to get access to, services like Michigan Works, MSU Extension. Those are different community offices. So, but right now, we're going to build what's in hand. That's 2 in the bush. So.
Carolyn, you got a question?
No, I never did.
No. Okay.
Thank you, though.
Anybody else? No. Thanks a lot, Lenny. Appreciate
Or
it. Definitely, I'm gonna pay the new business. EMPG grant,
The MPG,
EMPG grant, I need authorized to sign. Renew every year. Okay, then, on to unfinished business, Veterans Affairs allocation cost invoice. Last meeting, we had a discussion about this, and I sent it back on unfinished business. There was a commissioner that wanted to, motion to not require payment for the cost allocation. So that's what I thought here. Is anybody any thoughts on this and want to bring forward any kind of motion?
I'll make a motion, so we can talk about this, and I'll make a motion that, indeed, the cost allocation would be enforced.
A motion to enforce the cost allocation. Do I have a second?
Support.
Move to second, Terry beat you to it. All right, well, discussion away.
I mean, the only discussion I have that is if that is it is a cost for the administration of the millage. We have put that in place over the last 3 or 4 years for other entities that have millages, and everybody pays it, and I just feel that this is indeed a cost that the county incurs. It needs to be enforced.
Anybody else? You might have read in last week's paper, I had talked to Mary Weber, and I had a lot of information. It was in the second page, if you made it that far. Going into 2023, the Veterans Board is going to have in excess of $200,000 in their fund balance. And as discussed, and I agree with Dan that these policies, in order to capture funds, they, our county tried to go out for an operating millage. We tried to get Headley rolled back, and those things were both fiercely and denied. So we can't do this stuff for free, folks. This is not how it works. We gotta have some money to operate these things. And these are all legitimate numbers. Nobody pulled these out of a magic hat. And to be honest, we're charging a lot less than other communities do in all aspects. Just focused on 2 elements instead of every element that was in that report. So that's all I have. Anybody else? So the motion is to proceed with the billing.
Yes.
Okay, let's do a roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothard,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Alcona County Recreation Plan, and Dan has been giving me a lot of information on this. It's something that we have to get addressed and get it together. There's a lot of local communities that depend on this for grant proposals and grant submissions. Do you have anything else?
Well, I just think, just to remind everybody that, Nemcog, Nico Tucker who has helped us with this. He's really the one that came up with, he got phone calls from the DEQ or DNR regarding the 2 situations that need to be taken care of with some resolutions and all that. I spoke with Nico. There's a new lady in charge of that now. She's just taken over her office this week or last week. So I just would hope the new board just gets a hold of Nico after the first year and starts getting this situation remedied so the county can get a rec plan in place.
I think as we're saying that I was also providing some information from the treasurer, presentation from the state of Michigan Treasury, which provided a really comprehensive presentation and a checklist of things that your local community should have in place. So I would suggest, going into the next year, we have commissioners who's here, who's coming in, we really reference that and make some, and this is definitely part of that checklist, so. So that's there. Next item, ACCOA contract amendment. Never mind, yes, I did. Yeah. So this is the latest and greatest from Town Whiteville. A few minor adjustments in verbiage, right, Bill? Anything else worth noting?
No, it's basically the same one we had last year, and the dates and the amounts were changed. There's a few additions. They changed the name from senior millage to like ACCOA fund. I think he had another change. But in general, it's the same layout as it was a year ago.
Okay, so we're gonna need a motion to authorize the chair to sign.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bill,
Also,
second by Dan. Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. We'll do the roll call.
Brumman,
No,
Brady,
Yes,
Small,
yes,
Thompson,
Yes.
Gothier.
yes,
motion carries.
And I just did it over to. There, and we'll get it before you.
Okay. Moving on to new business. Starting with claims. Yeah. We're gonna find the first one. Okay, motion to approve pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between December 7th, 2022 and December 20th, 2022 for check numbers 149,362 to 149,516 and each check number is 2004 to 2013 for a grand total of $633,801.85. That's the motion.
I support.
Motion by Adam, second by Dan. Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
The next two items kind of live together. I'll talk about at the same time. So we have the agreement from Anderson Tackman and Company, the engagement letter for our 2022 audit. But we've also received a estimate from Australian Lamp out of Alpena for to do that same audit. Anderson Tackman has been the company we used for the last, I don't know, very long time. The finance would recommend that we stick with Anderson Tackman.
Was the other one late getting to it? Didn't we have a request?
It actually came unrequested,
Correct.
Right.
We had already had the.
We had
engagement
already
letter.
yeah,
Well,
but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. It's coming in, so.
but I always there for next year.
Exactly right.
Well, don't they already do some part of the county? Not what we talked about.
Wasn't there some work that this individual does also for like, through the grants and through the schools or something? So it was like he would be almost auditing his own work.
He's not,
He doesn't do anything with it.
well, I went through what was presented, that email that was presented, that company that he's representing. He is an employee of that company. Yes, he does work with different places.
It doesn't necessarily mean that he would audit it.
Correct. There are employees within that company, and if you specifically request in an auditing company, like we did with Anderson and Tackman, to have different auditors, we requested new auditors every so often to have, I think it was Carolyn's words, fresh eyes, to look over the information that we're providing, so there's not there's fresh eyes to see and different ideas, so I don't, that was what I took out of this, our job. That it was not necessarily a conflict, it was, he's a part of that company. But that's not necessarily who's gonna be here doing the work. That would be something you'd wanna check with the audit firm. But we had gone as per the year prior.
Right.
And got no response. Well, we got one
One.
response. And you chose to go with Anderson Packman. And we did not put a request for proposal out this year, but it may be something you want to do for next year.
I think that's, yeah, it would be a good idea.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal from Anderson Tackman for audited services for the year 2023, 2022,
And authorize the chair to sign.
and authorize the chair to sign. And if I could include in the motion that also, challenge the next year's board to maybe start earlier in the year and put out some feelers for possibly new eyes looking at our audit for 2023. Yeah. those motions. Second.
You know what?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion on table, any discussion? Carolyn,
This is an ongoing issue over the last multiple years. It was corrected at one time, but I see it has slipped back. If you go to page 6, under the removal audit, under reporting, and then under governmental auditing standards. The next paragraph down begins with the words develop your own reserve. If you utilize that paragraph that they have, and if they were to do the, let's say they complete the audit and present it on the 15th, no, I'll move it to the 29th of June, which is just before it's required by the state. With that paragraph, if we find a problem July 1st, we have nothing to stand on. Absolutely nothing. My recommendation, as it has been in the past, that the audit engagement must be filed within 12 months after performance of our service, and then we would have 15 months or 18 months to challenge that audit. And here's what can happen. If that audit is, if we believe there's, let me back up, please. The audit was completed in, we will say, and presented the 29th of June with this clause. Then we decide next year to get a different auditor. Or maybe it's the same auditor with different eyes on it. Doesn't really matter. The point being, that's got to be filed with the state, I believe, by the 30th of June. Unless that has changed recently. And we have no opportunity, if this new firm comes in and says, hey, you've got a problem back here. We can't do anything about it. Because the time has lapsed. And they, at one time, I'm going to arbitrarily say 5 years ago, but I think it was more than that. They did change and allow, I think it was 15 months, which gave us ample time. If there was, do I think there's going to be a problem with the Anderson Tackman? No, I don't. But I think as a policy, I think we are negligent in not allowing ourselves more time and our next year's auditor more time to find that problem.
The commissioners,
I'm sorry, excuse me? I don't know. Mr. Brady, did you intend to speak?
no, sir, sorry, the mic should have been muted.
Hey, thank you.
I don't think they're going to have a problem, knowing that they changed once before for a couple of years. I think this is standard language for almost any auditor. But I think we send it back and ask for a request of 15 months after they have concluded their efforts. And present it.
Anybody else?
I think it protects the county. I think it protects people of the county against a possible error. It may be inadvertently made, although it may have been the easy way to take care of something.
Okay. Any other comments? Motion on table is to accept to allow, accept the engagement letter and allow the chair to sign. Let's do a roll call.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to amend the motion, please. If they have my hand up.
Oh, sorry. And we then in the middle of a.
Well, you can, if you can't do it now.
Yeah.
All right, what do you propose?
My amendment would be that we suspend the agreement to this pending contact of Anderson Tackman and request for an adjustment of 3 months or whatever. And then bring it back to the board, probably our next meeting.
We have a motion? Any second?
I'll second.
Who second to amend the motion to approval upon, no, to request Anderson Tackman to modify the contract language to include how many months?
3 months, we probably want to do now,
3 months after the final acceptance,
It'll be
after
15
their
months.
presentation.
3 months after presentation.
Total of 15 months?
Pardon?
Yes.
Total of 15 months.
What is it now?
12.
Well,
Moved and seconded,
I think
so,
it's 12. Yes.
It is.
roll call on the amended,
Thompson,
Yes.
Brady,
no,
Small,
No.
Gother,
No.
Drummond,
Yes,
okay, amended is failed. So do I go ahead and vote on the initial
the original motion. yes.
motion? Okay. So now, the original motion, roll call please, is to approve and sign.
Gother,
Yes.
Drummond,
No,
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Motion carries. Next item, library board trustee recommendations. Have a question about this. We set a precedent, but in the spirit of fairness. I don't know how fast this needs to be done, but I think that the board members should be recommended.
Well, I did ask, Denise to have, now Teresa is already a sitting member. She was appointed, to replace one and now is appointed for the full term. Paula Smith would be the super new one that I asked if they would schedule something, for the board to review for her. I didn't get a response or something.
What's the time sensitivity in this, Bill? Can we ask them to have them come and talk to us?
Well, they're not gonna have a library board meeting. We won't have another.
Well, they can reach out, they don't have to do it by word. They can just reach out to that person and have them give me the contact. I just think in the spirit of fairness,
Yeah.
and what we just did, we need to start meeting these people in person.
I'd like to make a motion that we acknowledge the Alcona County Library on the receiving of these two candidates, and that we would like to ask them to come in and to meet with the board of commissioners. Or you want to call it an interview or for discussion.
Who supported? Any discussion? All those in favor? All opposed, motion carries.
Little footnote, when they had the two openings, they ended up with 6 very qualified individuals wanting it. It was the first time I sat on a board where they had more than one. But yeah, they had 6. They were anywhere from professors, teachers that retired to men that just wanted to get involved. So
That's good. Day full of positive news today. I like it. Next up, fire board member reappointment recommendations. Well, here we are again. Same scenario. However, we approved these people in the past because he's a reappointment, right?
Right.
So I don't think there's a,
The only one is a junior member, is a brand new one. His father was a member. He stepped down and allowed Irving to come up as a junior, but we've never interviewed those outside of the.
so we have. So there's one that we haven't, that is not a previous.
Right.
Okay, then, I mean, this is making things, I mean.
That one was a little tricky. He's still in school, so we're gonna say the minor. Yeah, he's still coming down.
Could,
He's technically he's our junior member.
Again, if I could
yeah, go ahead.
make a motion that, again, we acknowledge the Colon County Fire Board on the receipt of their recommendation for reappointments. And again, we would like to see the new junior fire board member, Irvin Johnson, come in and talk to the Board of Commissioners at his convenience.
We would set up a special meeting, get all the library people at the same
Yeah.
time.
All at one time.
I'll support that.
Who is supported? Any more discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Consumers Energy Resolution 2022-18.
Ooh. Just for our review, is it?
Something with the,
This is from,
well, if somebody wants to bring this over to make a resolution on that, I'm assuming.
support the study. I've already seen a problem against the resolution of dash 19, which should be 18.
Pardon?
Go to 18,
The
one that's saying
resolution
that
is, on the agenda is 18.
The resolution says 19.
This one,
well,
I'll change it. It is supposed to be 18.
we would name it something else anyway for us. We have a resolution number list. Cliff notes are, and anybody wants to read this, so hand it to you, but, urging state legislature to amend the Michigan Auto Insurance Reform Act to amend the reimbursement cap for auto accident victims. Home health care.
no.
Oops, wrong one. Lord,
That's Berry County's resolution.
oh my goodness.
Here.
Support for economic impact study of consumer energy dams. Oh, okay, well, this is a lot more. Interesting, but yes, you should speak to this, yeah, absolutely.
I'll just make a motion that we adopt the resolution 2022 this has to do with the dams that Consumers Power is doing meetings about. This is almost a carbon copy of Iosco County's. They're putting together a plan or recommendations to attempt to have consumers do a study, an economical study, and also, I think down the road, there'll be also an EPA study.
I'll second, by the way. Motion by Terry, second by Bertie.
This is the table.
No, this is
Should vote on it.
actually bring forward the resolution.
A little side note, of course, consumers have already come out with an email. With, they're going to do a study. In regards to this, and also Matt came out with an email. There's got a grant. That anyone who has a van
the interest in advance for making this $13 million grant.
Yes, sir. MAC is the Michigan Association of County.
Yes, so. That's,
This is a, yeah, this is important for our county.
we do have tax dollars involved with consumers with the dam. Exact dollars that we would lose if they were to close down that dam. We'd lose half of Glenny. Because quite frankly, they have a park out there. That is literally doubles the population, triples it during the summer. If we lose that dam and that park goes bye-bye, Glenny will lose a huge, huge amount of income.
Yeah, it's its own village out there. It's all, it's all summer. Probably more population than we can.
It is important to our area, and I think, didn't we talk about a study here, a few of the officials down here, they were gonna do a study of some kind, and they mentioned the boats coming from the park over to the city here to fish.
Okay, motion on the table. Any other comment? I'm sorry, this is a resolution. Hearing none, roll call resolution.
Gother.
Yeah.
Brumman.
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Next up, City of Harrisville Master Plan. Do we have to do anything with this, or is this just notifying us that they have it?
It's notifying you that they have it,
Okay,
and you typically waive the 30-day request period.
oh, are they requesting we do that?
Yes, I believe as well as my Cato.
When did we receive these? Help me remember. Have I had it for a while? That's what.
The cities was in there last time, but just under correspondence,
All right,
and so it was moved to,
okay.
and then in the meantime, I received my Catos as well, but there's just a one sheeter. I don't actually have anything.
Do you have any input from my Cato side, Carolyn?
No, it came up at the last meeting 9 days ago.
Okay. How about Bill, anything from City of Harrisville?
No, they've got their own printed out and done.
But nothing earth patterning
No.
different? Okay. And they're asking that we send an approval by prior to the 30-day wait period. Is that what you said?
Yep.
I offered to on the Catos and they said they would let me know and they have not.
Oh, they have not.
So.
Heard. And I think why it was just this one sheet versus this whole packet is because I do receive some of them on CD.
On a compact disc.
Mhm.
Interesting.
I'll make a motion to accept the city of Harrisville master plan and my Cato Township master plan.
Supported. Move supported. Any discussion? All those in roll call.
Brady,
Yeah,
Brumman,
Yes.
Gother.
Yeah.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
compact disc, you said.
Yeah. I'll get 3 townships on one disc because it was the same group that did it for all of them.
Next, State Land Bank Blight Program Resolution.
Okay, you were all invited to a state land bank authority meeting. I know one of the commissioners attended, Carolyn. You all had the packet sent to you. I was contacted by the Michigan Land Bank Authority. There's $200,000 available for blight elimination in Alcona County. I contacted all the supervisors in the county and invited them to share with their board and listen to this meeting that happened on Monday for the Land Bank Authority. They were meeting on Monday or Tuesday, they were meeting on Tuesday to put together a resolution. Basically, we need the board, if you choose to participate in this program, the board will need a resolution. We don't have, Stephanie had one from a county that has a land bank, two from a
But they
counties
both have land
that
banks.
already have land banks. We are eligible for this with the resolution, and the wording will be coming from the state land bank. With that, for us to apply,
That, so I contacted the state.
uh-huh,
They immediately referred me to Houghton County.
okay,
Is like the guru one with the land bank. The state didn't provide a template, so it would be us having to
Okay.
create something. And also a board.
well, we don't have a land bank, but the Board of Commissioners needs to decide if you want to take on this project moving forward. You can have the board, you can have the EDC, you can select whomever you choose to oversee the project. Obviously, the treasurer's office would have to be involved, for certain financing. So,
A committee even.
a committee, I agree to get the communication started.
Of the large funds of money. If I understood the thing right, if a township applies and we don't apply right away and they apply and get in, they could actually request all 200,000, and if they were approved, that would be the end of it for what Elkhorn got. I mean, otherwise you have to deal with each township to make sure that they group together the amount that they want to do, so that the total goes in and doesn't go beyond the 200. Is that
This is a collaborative, that's why you would need a committee, a collaborative effort between the townships and the county. If you want to take this project on by yourself and you have things that you feel would utilize the 200,000 and don't want to extend that to the townships, you can do that. Or if you choose not to jump on board with this funding, then an individual township could apply with the resolution if they choose to, but the whole point of this is making a collaborative effort with the townships and running it through specifically, getting everyone together on the same page. If you need $10,000 for your area, you need 10, you need 20, you need 30, you need 40, get it all together. This is the first step in a large amount of monies that are going to be coming through the state land bank, was my understanding. There's going to be future funding available for blight elimination. And it was very specific, so you guys all have the information, and if you have any questions, if you want to put together a resolution.
is there any time limit on
Yes.
getting it started?
Absolutely.
And
the-
is-
The request for proposals is the 31st, I believe, of January of 2023. So getting it together is kind of time sensitive. I wouldn't I mean, she's got a resolution here, obviously ready to go.
Well, this is Houghton's example, but like I said, they already have a land bank and they have. Houghton County Land Bank Authority Board, so
So,
they're way ahead of.
We
what
do not,
are.
and we will not,
yeah,
unless you
so,
choose to have a land bank. That puts us in a totally different category and a totally different
Right.
situation.
can I make a motion right now
Yes.
to pursue this?
If we form a land bank, it's a different story.
But this blight grant doesn't have to have a land bank,
Correct. We don't want a land bank.
right, right.
So whatever the appropriate motion is to get this rolling, I will make it right now. So how does that?
Create the committee itself
No, just to
to
get
approve a
the,
resolution.
get the process started so we can get the right resolution. send
It
in
is short,
in a
it
timely
is
manner.
short, yeah.
Or do I need to get a resolution put together and we vote on it in the first meeting in January? When was the deadline?
I would do
21st?
that resolution the 4th of January and meet with the supervisors or whomever of those townships. There were 6 townships that were present at the meeting, so there were interested parties.
Well,
And see if they want Alcona County
That's what they're deciding.
Yeah, to fund it,
Yeah.
or if you want the townships to go out on their own and go after the money.
I think, yeah, I think Oklahoma County,
If they do this resolution, they're agreeing to coordinate
right,
the funding.
right. Which is, it'd be in our interest to do that. So we have to get something together then to vote on the board. Okay. Well, I think, as a, currently as a, administrator, it's everywhere, it's. I'm a little fuzzy yet, because I discussed this at length with Dustin Township at the last meeting, and they had some questions, and I'm not expecting anyone here to be the expert on this, but does the landowner, the one that actually applies for the monies? How does the property have to be owned by the community, government agency? Okay, so. So I
No, it
mean,
would be the township requesting the proposal for cleanup. And there are specifications in here that can be discussed
okay,
once they have, but they have to have certain things to put their proposal together, their request. And so we would need someone on the board.
it's almost like
To
taking
coordinate.
a meeting with everybody. We need to meet with all those guys before we put a resolution together.
I think.
Or after.
No, you need to decide whether you want to
I
coordinate
think
this
it's that
project.
that the Board of Commissioners have our form and a resolution to move forward with the land bank program.
I'll support. Who supported? Any more discussion? It's important. We have a lot of it here. I like the fact that you mentioned that there's $200,000 just future monies. That's gonna come through the same program. I thought 200,000 for the whole county is not a lot, but now that there's future stuff available, yeah, that's great. Because the honest truth is, the people who are the target of, local, how do I say this? The people who have the most problem with, the situation when there's blight generated, are the ones that are least available to afford to be able to clean it up on their own. That is the case a lot of the time, so, something like this would be spectacular and really help us to boost up our county and get our property values in a nice place. So anyway, that's my spiel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Do a roll call on the resolution. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks for doing legwork on that, putting that together. I'll volunteer to be on that committee or whatever it is next year when we get it going, so. Next item is, I have an EMPG grant for the EMS. That we do every year. Yeah, emergency management coordinator, it's they cover part of the wages for the coordinator. So,
Make a motion for the board to approve and to have the chair sign.
move supported. Any more discussion? All, roll call?
Gothier,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Drummond.
Yes.
Okay, next up, finance report. Me, we met this morning. Real quick before the meeting, had a few issues to discuss, but otherwise, we're upon your approval at the last meeting to try to clean stuff up. We're working with the budget committee, budget coordinators to get everything wrapped up for the year. Other than that, unless Cheryl has anything that I don't know about trying to move some money around, or or anything. Okay. That's it for finance then. Personnel. I'll come for personnel. Treasurer's report.
I have given you all a revenue and expenditure report for the last 5 years. To see where we are as of today. It does say 12/31. We do have approximately 200,000 that is intended to come in revenue. That has not been reported yet. We're heard from 3 departments with any outstanding revenues. Wise or other that are scheduled to come in. We are looking at the 29th for the final day for deposits and we'll close the 30th. So we will need all the departments to get their transmittal for the year end on the 29th. And we would also ask for any revenues that come in January and February to be marked with the appropriate 22 revenues, so we can get those accrued back to the prior year. Other than that, taxes have been, the notices will be going out into the paper for 2 weeks in January for the properties that are in foreclosure. We have successfully had another client file for the MyHack program, getting their delinquent and forfeited taxes paid for through that grant program. So far, we have had 5 individuals apply and be approved. So we're very happy about that. They're really doing a great job helping out. Other than that, we are just rolling along, trying to collect more taxes. We haven't had a whole lot of payments, but happy holidays. Does anyone have any other questions?
No question. Clerk's report.
As discussed at the finance meeting today, the very first meeting of the year, the organizational meeting. I was hoping our legal counsel would go to Bay City, but I will be going on behalf of Oklahoma County instead. So Trina will be doing the meeting. I think it'll be fine. I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, that kind of goes along with that checklist of policies that we may or may not already have in place. I came across something, looking for this book that was sitting over there. I found back in 2017. And I believe what happened and why progress on this stopped was because Kathy Vachunas was the one, I think, handling this. But you guys had started commissioners' bylaws. And we started, there was a rough draft and I couldn't find anywhere where there was a motion that was ever passed. It just abruptly stopped. So I don't know if that's something, as these checklists are created, that we may want to bring this up again and review it at that time.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just kind of keeping it in the pending file. Other than that, also same thing, end of the year bills. Getting ready for 23 with the new court system, and it's not going too bad, but that's all I have.
Thank you. Communications in your packet. For your leisure. Yeah.
Under the Caledonia Township letter to support request. I'm passing you down with this copy of the email I had received from Cindy Epsy, Township Supervisor. Didn't come in until December 15th, and they have 3 grant proposals out there in Caledonia, and they need letter support from the county commissioners. I informed Cindy that she would probably already pass the deadline for the January 19th deadline. But I knew Elkhorn Township was applying in January for the Spark grant. So basically, I'm just giving you guys this, that it explains the 3 grant proposals that they're putting together. And I would recommend that our new commissioner, Dave Cox, who is representing Caledonia Township, be getting this and get on it. And maybe you can, put that, whatever other support you need from here, but they're going to need letter support for those 2 projects. Just for your information.
All right. Okay, then we're on committee reports.
I attended the Department of Health meeting on Monday. And Dan didn't make it. But we all said goodbye to them. So there was a big thank you from them to Dan for his years of service with them. Also attended the Ben's meeting yesterday. That's all I have.
Dan.
Reason I didn't make the meeting is because they sent out.
You're just too modest, bro.
No, they sent out a second amendment on the agenda. I read that, but didn't see the top where they had moved the meeting location, so I showed up in Hale, it was supposed to be in West Branch, so. Didn't make it. But anyway, on my committee, we all have a report from the ARPA committee, and basically this is just a follow-up from our last December 4th meeting. And it's just for the County Board of Commissioners. And ARPA committee is recommending to the board to avoid any major expenditure at the MSU Forest Service property if possible. With the help of Aaron Mahalik and Dave Hanson, the site plan has been developed for the county property, for the county owned property west of the jail. As you can see from the site plan, there's over 4,000 square feet of buildable property. There is sewer, water, natural gas available. And it is our recommendation, the board start the process for researching the following possibilities. One is construct a new storage facility for the sheriff's department, moving it from the Forest Service area. Or construct a new office building for the building department and possibly the Department of Northeast Michigan Mental Health. We have heard that they're looking for maybe a new office space in Harrisville. And that if proposal 2 is selected, we recommend that moving the sheriff's storage building to the EMS site should be a top priority. And we also recommend that the MSU services and Forest Services be moved to the present building department offices. As there are many other possibilities for the Harrisville site and the EMS site, these are our current recommendations. And that's from Bill and myself, but it's just following up on our committee recommendations. And as you can see from the site plan, thanks, Dave, did a great job of getting right down to the exact measurements. There's well over 4,000 square feet that can be built there. And like I said, sewer, water, everything's there. There's no lot clearing, basically, it's probably some fill needed. And it's ready to be built on. So we're just recommending to the future board to see what they can do about that.
Nice.
Are there any zoning issues there?
No zoning, no.
Okay, I don't have any things to report. How about you, Bill?
Just the normal meetings at Harrisville, they're gonna have instead of a ball drop from New Year's, they're having an anchor drop, which will be over at the Pocket Park. Item decorated that they'll bring down for New Year's. Again, they're trying to get people to come out and there'll be a kids activity earlier, and then the parents can come back for an evening type thing for the opening of New Year's. Of course, the library, they had the 2 people that they interviewed 6 and picked 2 to join their board. Not much at the Harrisville Township Road Commission. They've been moving forward with ditching and cleaning trees back because the snow hasn't been really hindering them. Keep in mind that they're still going to need an access to the wells out at the dump site off of Hubbard Lake Road, and that the testing will be coming up this year. And I know we budgeted some, but that will be bringing its head to the board station. Other than that, but
Carolyn.
Sunrise has a new executive director, Madeline McConnell. She came on board, I think, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And now the Sunrise 211 Northeast Michigan has a new pending new executive director. She has been offered the position. She has not gotten back. It was just offered to her late yesterday. And she has not gotten back with us earlier this afternoon when I spoke with our interim executive director. I expect that she will take the position. She is from Utah, and I think she'll do a great job for Northeast Michigan 211.
anything else?
No, I'm sorry.
I have one more thing I should say. We had a meeting with the 324 union EMS, and basically it was centered over the blank spots that are happening when people are leaving. And the amount of overtime that the other people were working, that we're adding, getting burnout and so forth, and budget's gonna go out. So we have a temporary stopgap that we put together. Hopefully that will put a Band-Aid on a major problem, that's all it is, and pushing for job descriptions to be sent out to universities and to even out of state, just to see if we get some more manpower. Same thing that the sheriff is going through, getting people to come and apply. So we had a meeting to discuss that.
Okay. Moving on, public comment, 5 minutes, state your name and your township.
Can I get a copy, Cheryl Frank, Elkhorn County Treasurer, can I get a copy of the ARPA letter?
Sure. I have your names on it.
Hi, I'm Dave Hanson from Building and Grounds. I know you guys have been here for a long meeting. I'm busy next door helping George with something next door. I just wanted to kind of recap where we've come along this summer. We've done a lot of big projects here with ARPA funding and got some big projects done. I know I come here all the time with bad news, so I just want to recoup what we've done so far this year. One of the big ones we've done since I came here was the roof project. So we did get the entire roof replaced on the county building. Using ARPA funding, that was $156,000 project, which would have been put on the wayside. So we got to put away all the 5-gallon buckets. That's been going good. One of the side effects of the new roof drains that with the new roof is we were overwhelming some of the roof drains, so we had to reroute some of the drains in the crawl space. That's all been corrected now, and the drains are working very well on that. We did clean the heat exchangers on the boilers this summer, got that all straightened out down there. Going forward next year's Springs project, our big one is going to be dealing with the chimney and all of the plumbing up there on the thing. I want to thank the, Finance Committee, ARPA, and the commissioners as a whole for setting some money aside for that project. And we set some money aside for that because that project could run as much as $20,000, I'm assuming, by the time we get done with it. By the time we have to rent scaffolding, we're gonna have to rent a sky lift, we're gonna have to dispose of all the bricks that are up there. We're gonna have to put some type of material on the roof when we do it. Take down all the bricks that are falling off to about, we've got to take about 10 foot of the chimney off, recap it and repipe it down to the boiler systems. That should make it good going forward. For those that don't remember what we're talking about, the old chimney was designed where they had the incinerator on one half of the chimney. The other half was the exhaust for the old boiler system. They ran the pipes of the new boiler system up through the old chimney part, but it wasn't vented properly. It didn't quite extend through the top of the roof chimney. If you look how high it comes out of the chimney, you can understand why. When we cleaned out the boilers, they did their best to fix the issue. We found out that what it was, a lot of the pipes were not glued together. They just hand fitted them all together and jammed them up in there. So that's what was happening. Some of the exhaust gas was actually getting sucked back into the intakes, and it was reburning its old gases. So we've corrected it, hopefully, to get us through this winter. Still doesn't fix the issue on the other half of the chimney where it was used for incinerator for many years. All the bricks are crumbling and breaking and falling onto the roof. So that's what we're going to deal with next spring. But I think we've corrected the chimney issues, finding out that a lot of the pipes weren't glued together. That was a major find. Gas line next door, we were able to have Linecoff come in, rerouted the gas line to the stove, installed 2 new shutoff valves, one downstairs, one upstairs. So we were able to hook the fire alarm system all back up there. So that's all working 100% over there now. We had to run 2 new circuits from the storage room down into the boiler room for our next big project, which is going to be the fire alarm, burglar alarm upgrade. We are moving forward with that project. That's going to continue into next year. We are paying for products and engineer drawings as they come in. The big holdup right now is they still have not the 2 big control panels for downstairs. Those are the 2 big ticket items we're waiting for. We've got most of the heat detectors, sensors, that stuff's all coming in. It's just mainly the 2 control panels. So that project is going to carry over into 2023. The next big project that we got coming up, we're gonna have to work on a little bit, like I said, is gonna be the chimney. That's my big one in the spring. Once that one is completed, then we'll see how much money is left over to move on to some of the other fine things. Now, it's not gonna take care of all of our issues, from the crumbling parking lots to the bad windows. That's still gonna be an ongoing issue that maybe we can see to find other funding sources for, but we have made some big strides this year, and I want to thank everybody's cooperation in this and the funding, more importantly, in getting everything done. Oh, I also got all of the courtroom section of the building is done now. with the safety glass installed. We installed tempered glass in all the windows. We got access trays on them. We have the safety film installed inside of the windows. I've been checking with the same company that did this. They also sell what they call a ballistics glass. It will stop a small caliber handgun. It's also shatter resistant, break proof. And it really, by the time we figured out the cost, is almost the same cost as buying all new 1/4-inch tempered glass, coating with the safety film, taking it out and putting it all back in and stuff. So our next big one that we're talking about doing is the clerk's office and some of the other county building offices that are all glass on the front. How do we make those more secure? This was doing it one window at a time, which kind of gave us a cost basis and what would be the most effective. And this ballistic glass may be our best effective thing going forward. So we're going to check into that. They've got a couple of sheets left over from another project. They're going to give me a couple pieces that I can cut down to size, because really what it is, it's like a high tech plexiglass. And it comes in a big sheet, which means we just buy the sheet and we can cut it ourselves. They have special blades, carbide tip blades that you use on it so it doesn't chip and break. But then same thing, we could save some cost by doing it in-house, take our own measurements and replace sections as we go along. So that may be our best bet going forward with the other county offices, which have much more glass on versus just single door openings. So that's where we're at there going forward, going into next summer. So any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Dick.
Anybody else? 5 minutes? Hey,
I have a quick question. I know it's kind of after the fact, but today is the actual winter solstice, and I was just wondering if there's an emergency preparedness plan, because we're about to get 2 to 3 feet of snow. And I know we were in the process of trying to upgrade, and we, meaning ACCOA, is looking to put in a dedicated generator. And our Region 9 partner asked us to be a warming station, but I don't see a community plan to kind of have that, because if we ever do have power outages within our community, as you saw from just wind, you got people that live in on 2-track roads who may not be able to get to a warming station, may need to be picked up. So my question for the county is to maybe put together an emergency preparedness plan committee or something, so that we can kind of coordinate, because I believe the largest building in the county is still the Commission on Aging, maybe a Masonic Lodge, or maybe a large church. But we need to have something, maybe multiple warming stations, maybe talk to the churches here in Harrisville to be a warming station, and those things. I do have a small generator that can run some box heaters. So we do get in a pinch this week, but I have no way of coordinating any of that, and our offices are closed. I just don't close. So that's my offer on the table. I would love for us to kind of come together and think of that, maybe get Scott Rice and the sheriff, so we can kind of have a plan together.
okay, thank you. Anybody else?
No, I have a comment as a citizen, not as an employee, veterans, I wasn't gonna say anything, but it bothers me. As a taxpayer, you guys say that, you have so much general fund money, your taxpayers' dollars, and you can't afford to fund the services. But then you sit here and you give bonuses to employees that are highly compensated for their what they do. That some of them even make more than the elected officials. And then you're gonna complain about not having money to provide services, like, for instance, the veterans, or the library, because you don't have the general fund money. It bothers me. There's some poor decisions made. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nobody else? Anybody online?
Tim Gauthier via Zoom. Am I on?
Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Caledonia Township. First of all, cousin Dan, I'm sorry you're not going to be there. We did meet David. I promise I'll learn his last name by the end of next year. The township wrote you a letter requesting your support. And I would like you to seriously consider before you do that, that they are under litigation right now regarding 2 of the 3 requests that they're submitting. It's in the court system. The third one, which is the Spruce Sledding Hill, has zoning violations, and the Michigan Attorney General is taking a look at that one. There have been numerous Michigan statutes that were violated in the process of doing the work on all 3 of these grant projects. Past projects have actually been stopped. Eagle, which is the old DEQ, has been contacted. They're involved. The DNR is involved because they actually did a stop work request in 1980 on the Holcomb Creek wetland project. And I emphasize wetland because I'm a prior township supervisor, and my job was instrumental in maintaining the wetland as it was purchased by Kenny Tim, just to age us a little bit, a prior township supervisor who bought the property in 1980. So with litigation pending, with the DNR, Eagle, the Attorney General, and the Governor's Office all looking into these projects and violations that have occurred, I would really strongly request the commissioners to hold off on any kind of support for this. And I know David was in our last meeting. He unfortunately had to see the mess of what took place in that meeting when these issues were brought up to the board, and no comments were made. So again, I would appreciate if you would take a close look at that before issuing a letter of support to Caledonia Township for 3 different grants that are looked at closely by the Attorney General and also are in the court systems as we speak. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Carolyn, good to see you. Thank you very much.
There's my compass, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Public comment?
Mike Brady, Caledonia Township.
Mike, go ahead.
I'd just like to explain some recent communications between myself and the building department. We have some issues with some construction that occurred adjacent to our property, specifically the Holcomb Creek wetland that Mr. Gauthier was speaking about. For a couple of years, we've been trying to convince the supervisor that construction there might be illegal and against many different code, and there's code violations. It's been established with one of the directors of Eagle that there was no proper wetland delineation study done. There was no vertical elevations taken, that particular construction is most likely in the 100-year floodplain, so it's now in violation of EPA standards, and a complaint has been filed. The construction wasn't properly engineered or permitted and is likely going to cause flooding on our personal private property. I made this clear before the gravel was dumped. The gravel was dumped on the supervisor's private property and billed to her husband. Then it was trucked onto the wetland. Some ethics violations there with probably not your concern. We also have concern about an unpermitted construction on a property on Hubbard Lake Road where the supervisor is currently residing, that she's attempting to change the zoning from commercial industrial, it's a abandoned sawmill, to agricultural. They started filling in the 100-year floodplain there without any soil erosion protection, without permits, without a delineation study, and without a vertical elevation survey done. And we have strong concerns about runoff from agricultural, not sure why it needs to be agricultural, into the floodplain and into Holcomb Creek. I'm all for progress. I'm all for, the parks and things being improved. I volunteer my services and experience, my professional experience in commercial construction to help. But what I'm not for is unpermitted, reckless and dangerous things that, that affect the rest of the community without proper planning, without the consent to zoning commissions or planning commissions. And most certainly without somebody taking a look at vertical elevation. You are not allowed to fill in the 100-year floodplain. This is very clear. Thank you, board, for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mike. Any more comment? Okay. Then moving on to Commissioner, additional comments. I would like to thank Dan and yeah. I'd like to thank Dan and Bill. They're evacuating these seats. And I think that deserves recognition. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And the door's always open and the phone's always on. So,
Well, I'm sure we'll utilize.
maybe we can have some fun and be on the other side of the comment section.
Dan's gonna do it in assembly. Thank you both for all the guidance.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
With that, meeting adjourned to the next organizational and regular meeting on January 4th, 2023. 1 p.m.
Thank you, cousin Dan.